grind hard to get ahead. You're trying to go backwards.
Feelings from the past, pray the Lord block it all out.
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy. Can't touch on this YouTube shit. Hey man, say man, we are lit. Lit in 3 motherfucking teams, man. Turn up. Hey man, say man. We got another 5 in this bitch, man. Something with 5. But this, have y'all ever? But it's gonna be a bit. I'm gonna give y'all a little backdrop of what. Have y'all ever had, like, when y'all was little, you get in a fight with your brother, your sister, even a friend. I'll kill you. And one pick up the knife or some shit and start going crazy, or somebody come with a hammer or a bat. You know what I'm saying? On some crazy ass shit. As a little kid, bruh. And you be fighting with your family members, like your brother, sister. I'll kill you type shit. But we finna watch 5 chilling cases of killing children, man, that actually killed their motherfucking people or kill some people. And you know what I'm saying? We finna watch it. You never know how people's mental frame is growing up as a kid, or how they live in conditions, or their life is. So you really can't really judge people until you really get to know them and see what the fuck happens. So we finna watch these motherfucking videos. We finna get, let's go. Turn up. Listen to the warning, my guys. If you feel like it's not meant for you, jump off this bitch. As a little kid, I watch all type of shit, crazy shit.
From a brother and sister who murder their stepmom to an 8-year-old serial killer.
Damn.
Today, Fact Faction looks at 5 of the youngest
Is
killers.
killing roaches a serial killer? Ugly! But nah, for real, man, these motherfuckers was killing.
14-year-old Barry Dale Lukaitis received 2 life sentences and an extra 205 years for a shooting spree that occurred at Frontier Middle School in Washington. In 1996, while dressed as a Wild West shooter, Lukaitis armed himself with one of his father's rifles
schools,
and
churches, or protests,
and walked into his school and murdered 2 students and a teacher who were in an algebra class at the time.
And he just killed them,
Another
not the
student
whole school.
was also critically injured.
They never get the people who actually bully them.
Reports, as Barry saw his classmates panic, he shouted, "This sure beats the hell out of algebra, doesn't it?" A quote from one of Stephen King's novels titled Rage, the contents of which closely mirrored Barry's situation, as it was about the main character holding his algebra class hostage and shooting 2 teachers. For a short amount of time, Barry held hostages in the hopes of escaping from the scene. However, once teacher and coach John Lane entered the classroom, students were swiftly evacuated, and Lukaitis was tackled to the ground, where he was held until police arrived.
I'm surprised they even tackled the nigga.
Barry Lukaitis is serving 2 life sentences, alongside 205 years of mandatory time at Clallam Bay Corrections Facility. In recent years, the Supreme Court ruled that sending juveniles to prison for life without the possibility of parole is cruel and unusual punishment, and ordered defendants like Barry to be sentenced all over again. A resentencing will certainly be a polarizing choice for the community and for the victims' families.
So he won't get out until he's like 80, basically. That shit is crazy.
In 1999, brother and sister Curtis and Catherine Jones were both arrested for the murder of their father's girlfriend. The 2 children, who were 12 and 13 years old, had gotten a hold of their father's 9mm handgun and shot 29-year-old Sonia Spites dead. The details of the murder were hazy for quite some time, and the motive initially was believed to have been through an act of jealousy. However, it was later revealed that the kids had both suffered from physical and sexual abuse in their family home.
Damn.
The pair claimed that they were both abused by a male family member who lived in their house and who even shared a room with Curtis.
What?
Child Protective Services were informed a number of times of violence in the home. However, they failed to take any action. In addition to their father's girlfriend, the children later revealed that they also had planned to murder their father, as well as the man who they say was responsible for the abuse. The pair were the first children at the time to be charged as adults, with first-degree murder. But after some pleading, this was changed to second-degree murder. They were found guilty and were each sentenced to 18 years in prison and a life of probation.
What?
In mid-2015, the two siblings were both released from prison at the ages of 29 and 30 years old. While behind bars, Curtis Jones was ordained as a Christian minister. Catherine said that she looks forward to catching up on all the things
I'm about to say, they not released them two, but they released that white girl who was trying to kill them people because of Slender Man.
Mary Flora Bell was a mere 10 and 11 years old when she murdered two young boys in 1968. Born into a less than favorable family, her mother was a teenage prostitute who later married an armed robber.
See, they was already doing hot girls out there.
Mary did not have the best start in life, and she had a reputation in her home area of Scotswood as a delinquent. On the day before her 11th birthday, Mary murdered a 4-year-old boy named Martin Brown by strangling him in a derelict house. Shortly after the incident, a local nursery was broken into and
he only 1 year
and
old.
Notes, which were written in child's handwriting, were found by police, which spoke about the murder. Just 2 months later, 3-year-old Brian Howe's body was found in a wasteland, close to the first crime scene. His death was also caused by strangulation.
Damn.
Police linked the two murders and took action by interviewing local children. Two stood out, Mary and another girl named Norma, as both of their answers were indefinite.
These girls going out here trying to kill the little boys. That's tough.
The pair began to accuse each other. Eventually, both girls were taken into custody and were charged with the murders. Police claimed that Mary had returned to the second crime scene and had carved an M into the child's stomach. She also cut off some hair before scratching his legs and mutilating his private parts. At the trial in 1968, the two girls admitted to breaking into the nursery and leaving the notes there. However, it was Mary's attitude that stood out the most. While Norma was frightened and confused, Mary remained confident and calm.
Damn.
After almost 10 days' deliberation, a jury eventually found Mary guilty of manslaughter and sentenced her to life imprisonment.
This is crazy, bro.
Although Norma was present when the second murder took place, she was acquitted and found not guilty. After spending 12 years behind bars, Mary was released in 1980 and left prison with a new identity. Greeted with immediate uproar, she published a biography in 1998 titled Cries Unheard, the story of Mary Bell.
Number 4.
In a murder that shocked Britain as a nation, John Venables and Robert Thompson were both only 10 years old when they murdered a 2-year-old named James Bulger.
Damn.
On February 12, 1993, instead of going to school, the two young boys spent the day in a shopping mall in the town of Boodle, where they shoplifted many items, including a can of paint,
you getting too much shine, you little 2-year-old. You gotta go.
As well as petty theft.
That's what they was thinking.
The boys were also on the lookout for a child to kidnap.
What?
At around
so it wasn't even like that.
PM,
They were looking for
James
somebody,
Bulger and
victim.
his mother were inside a butcher's shop, which was located on the ground floor of the mall. Venables and Thompson spotted the young boy in the shop and decided that he would be their unlucky victim. As James's mother was briefly distracted, both boys approached the toddler and took him by the hand and led him out of the mall.
Well, I mean, young as hell. Then there's some little kids, so the little kid like, oh, they must be somebody I know. He little kid just like me. Damn, that's tough. Damn.
After walking for over 2 miles,
imagine you had a little kid. That's your last thing you gonna see right
railway
here.
Station,
where
they began
tracks.
torturing the helpless toddler. Some of the 42 horrific injuries the young boy suffered included many bruises, cuts, and fractures. The boys had placed batteries inside his mouth, poured paint into his left eye, and threw bricks and stones at him. James Bulger was eventually put out of his misery as Venables and Thompson beat his head with an iron bar. After the brutal murder, the two boys placed his lifeless body onto the train tracks to make it appear like an accident. After police released grainy CCTV footage from the shopping mall, a woman came forward and identified John Venables as one of the boys. Both Venables and Thompson were subsequently arrested and were charged with the murder.
They beat that nigga with
You don't have
stones.
to say anything unless you wish to do so, but anything you say may be given in evidence. Now, you understand that, don't you, John?
Yeah.
Damn, break it talk.
I have a photograph here.
Damn,
Which
bitch.
is a video camera photograph.
That's me. That's me.
So the boy holding James's hand is you,
Yeah.
and the boy ahead of you in the dark jacket and trousers, Robert Thompson.
Damn. He thought he was going to be going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship, zooming through the sky. Little Einstein. No, he was not zooming through the motherfucking sky. He zooming through the dirt.
Who did?
Robbie.
Why did
Shit,
he
he
come
thought he was going in a favorite rocket ship.
He hits him where exactly?
In the face.
In the
I
face.
think he hit him in the eyes.
And he hits him in the eyes. Right.
Now, was James making any noises then?
Who was that? That was.
He was knocked out. Was he moving at all?
After they both confessed, they were given sentences, which meant they would remain in custody until they reached adulthood. The two boys, now men, are unable to explain why they committed the horrific crime. After being released in 2001, Venables and Thompson were both given new identities. In 2010, John Venables was sent back to prison on child pornography charges.
Damn. Number 5.
Amarjit Sada has been named India's youngest serial killer,
Damn!
and for a good reason. Born in 1998,
Tarzan
this
in
young
his
boy,
dick.
at the age of 8 years old, murdered 3 babies in cold blood. Sada's first victim was his 6-month-old cousin, who he killed in 2006. A few months later, he went on to murder his 8-month-old sister. According to various sources, Sada's family and some people living in the village knew about the murders, but did not report them because it was considered as family matters.
Bro, what is with these
Sada's
self-inflicted
final
wounds?
victim was a neighbor's 6-month-old daughter. The young boy abducted her from the village primary school and took her to a field and beat her to death using a brick. The other 2 children were believed to have also died in this way. When asked about the disappearance of the neighbor's daughter, Sada confessed to the killing and even led police to the place where
He's
the murder
only
had
8,
occurred.
bruh.
The
How
8-year-old
the fuck?
then also confessed to the murder of his
Nigga
sister
nose big
and
as
cousin.
hell. Big, strong
So why
eyebrows
did he do
having
it?
ass boy. Big,
Sada's motives
big nose,
are
strong
unclear,
eyebrows having ass.
but when questioned, police say he just smiled a lot and asked for biscuits. Medical experts
So he just
believe
got
he
done
has
killing
a
somebody and like, I
conduct
want some
disorder,
biscuits.
and due to a severe chemical imbalance in his brain, he receives a sense of gratification from inflicting injuries on others. It's not 100% clear where Sada is now, but some reports suggest he is living in a hospital and seeking therapy to help cope with his mental
This nigga done
illness.
disappeared from the
Because
face
he
of the
was
earth.
sentenced as a
That man
juvenile,
could be anywhere.
according to Indian law, the maximum sentence for his crimes would have been 3 years. Sada will now be 18 years old, and there is a chance that he is now a free man.
Damn. I see about to say, up, time to get my revenge. Oh, glass. Hey man, say man, do you want some litty ass videos, man? I tell, half of y'all niggas do not do any of these things. Y'all dumb if y'all do. I just do this. I watch these videos to see, like, you never know if you see somebody in real life who to stay the fuck back away from. How not to get caught and what not to do, bruh. You just never know, bruh. You never know when these type of videos might save your life. You never know. There could be somebody who was a killer. You know the person right beside you, but because you watched the video, you be like, oh, that's a killer. Let me leave him alone. No snitching shit. Be like, let me not talk to that motherfucker and dip and go. You know what I'm saying? But hey man, say man, I hope y'all niggas having a litty ass video, man. Make sure you fuck with your boy. Gang, straight hood and outside shit, man. Make sure you fuck with your boy. We out this bitch, man. Deuces.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. Even though this is instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.